Welcome back. This is part two of week six MLS reaction video. Let's get straight on with it. Moving on, FC Dallas against San Jose Earthquakes. This one ended FC Dallas 2, San Jose Earthquakes 2. San Jose stunned Dallas early on, as early as the fourth minute. Quincy Amarikwa's cross turned home by Quintero. He was totally unmarked on the edge of the box, runs in, side foots it up into the roof of the net to give San Jose an absolutely brilliant start for them. And Dallas toiled away. San Jose, again, this is another side I've been impressed with, the way their organisation, really. Dominic Kinnear's men, really, really well organised. Don't always get the results sometimes that probably the play deserves, but I thought they were really good. That was a really good goal, although Dallas, Oscar Pereira must be very, very disappointed with how easy it was for San Jose to score that goal. Dallas got themselves level from the penalty spot. Akindele with another goal, following on from his goal last week, stroked the penalty home to tie the game up at 1 each. Before San Jose restored the lead into the second half, and again it was Amarikwa breaking forward, lovely little ball, and that man, Chris Wondolowski, with his fourth in 5 games, he's a machine. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, Wondolowski. He's got great movement, and it was a lovely little bit of movement. Again, the marking could have been better, but he finished it quite easily, really. Just tucked it into the back of the net to restore San Jose's lead. But it was that man, Fabian Castillo, my man, with his little feet, as Peg calls it. He done well, dragged the ball to the byline, cut it across, vicious ball across, really. And Bernardes trying to steer it behind for the corner. There's nothing really he could do. It came at him fast. He's got to get his head on it. There's people waiting to turn it in. Arruti was right behind him, when he probably would have scored if Bernardes didn't try and deal with it. Unfortunately for him, all he done was headed it into the back of the net to restore parity. Both sides then went for the victory. Couldn't quite get there. And it ended 2-2, and a fair result. I think it was a fair result. And both of these will take that point and move on. So it ended FC Dallas 2, San Jose Earthquakes 2. Moving on, Real Salt Lake against Colorado Rapids. RSL have been brilliant so far this season for me. They really, really have. They've looked good, they've looked pacey, they've looked dangerous in the games that I've watched them this season. And in this one, they didn't start well at all. I thought Colorado were the better side. Looked very, very dangerous early on. And this Rapid side is surprising a few people. They had a poor season last season, but I think this season they've been quite good, and I say it every week because we're building towards it, but, once you put Jermaine Jones in there and Tim Howard as well, it makes them even stronger, and they've really, really had a solid start of this season. Missed good chances early on, no question about it. Shells and Gashi, in and out at times. He's got to weigh in with his first goal. Once he gets that, he will probably get in amongst the goals. But it was a tight game. Both defences really coming out on top in this one. And the game looked like it was just going to peter out towards a 0-0 draw. Neither team giving up much space in the game. There wasn't that many clear-cut chances. But I suppose in these kind of games, when it's so tight and both teams have defended very well, you're relying on a mistake, and that's exactly what we got. Axel Sjoberg and Zach McMath, an absolute nightmare. McMath came, I'm going to blame McMath more than Sjoberg, because I think you've got a 2-against-1, 2 defenders with João Plata. I think leave it to them. Why you're coming rushing out your goal to make someone's, you're making more of a problem than there was. They ended up hashed clearance, and Plata has got an easy finish to win it for Real Salt Lake late on. And look, you're a couple of minutes away from a point, and you make that decision. And that's, without getting on Zach McMath's back too much, he's made a couple of clangers this season so far. He dropped the cross the other week, I think it was against DC United, which cost Colorado the 3 points. And this one has cost them, a very, very good point on the night. Disappointment for him. Of course, disappointment for Colorado. Defended really, really well. But Real Salt Lake, they continue, they move on, and they have started the season really, really well. So it'll be interesting to see whether they can maintain that. But in this one, it ended Real Salt Lake 1, Colorado Rapids 0. On to Houston Dynamo against Seattle Sounders. This one ended in a 1-1 draw. Very tepid affair, the opening half an hour. Wasn't the best game. I suppose the big things from this game was Giles Barnes was back for Houston Dynamo, and for Seattle Sounders, they dropped Clint Dempsey back and put Jordan Morris in up front in his preferred position as the main centre forward. That was probably the takeaways from the early part of the game. But Houston went in front with an absolute bizarre goal, great goal, but an absolute bizarre goal. Yeah, it was just weird. It was weird. Giles Barnes isn't even paying any attention. He's got his back turned, I think, at one stage, and he's walking into the box. He turns around as the ball bounces, and he just side foots it right over the keeper into the far corner to give Houston Dynamo the lead. And yeah, what a finish. It was a great finish, but it just looked a bit bizarre because he was paying no attention whatsoever, but he managed to put Houston Dynamo into the lead there. And then the game kind of defences, both goalkeepers, Frey and Willis, in the 2 goals were exceptional. I think the pair of them finished the night with 6 saves each, as the teams kicked on and really upped the ante after that. But for Seattle, they brought Anderson on, and he was a live wire. He was certainly a live wire for Seattle on the night. He was getting at Houston as much as possible and causing them problems, and he was getting edging forward and forward. But the goalkeeper, every time he came up with an opportunity, the keeper would make a great save. And it was the same at the other end. Both goalkeepers were brilliant in keeping the scoreline down. And it looked as though Houston were going to hang on for the win. We were literally into the 94th minute. Cross comes in from one side. It's a half-hearted clearance. It comes out to Anderson. He drags the defender across, fires a ball in. I think the keeper should do better. But the hits a defender, breaks, and Chad Marshall's there just to side foot home for Seattle and save them a point. And it was the last kick of the game. Heartbreak for Houston Dynamo. Frustration, I'm sure, for Owen Coyle's men that they haven't seen it out. And that ended Houston Dynamo 1, Seattle Sounders 1. Moving on, New York City against Chicago Fire last night. This game was, for me, a little bit of a bore fest. The 2 teams have already played, of course, on match day 1. It ended 4-3 to New York City. 7-goal thriller with defences all over the place. Clearly, the defending has got a lot better in the last few weeks. But I don't want to really bag New York City's pitch out and blame everything on the Yankee Stadium, but that narrow pitch isn't helping New York City. Teams are able to get organised. It frustrates them. And the other thing that isn't helping New York City is they haven't got a proper out-and-out goal scorer. An out-and-out centre forward. Someone who can knock people about. They tried Mullins last night. For me, he's not the answer. If I was a New York City fan, he wouldn't be the one I'd want up there. I'd want another centre forward. I'd like Patrick Vieira to bring in another centre forward for me. David Villa spends a lot of time picking the ball up in wide areas and running at people. No problem with that. He still scores a lot of goals. Mullins, flashes of him, he looked okay, but I don't know. They either don't use him properly or he's just not that good. And I feel as though if they want to move forward, they need to solve that problem. I'm not saying Mullins can't be in the squad. I'm not saying he's not a handy sub, but a starter right down the middle for a team that wants to get into MLS playoffs and win MLS Cups, because let's be honest, that's what the owners want. Then they need to find a better centre forward. Still no Frank Lampard. No one's even surprised now. He's been out for that long. And New York City just toiled and toiled. I was disappointed with Mix Disharu. He'd done a couple of lovely little drag backs with his back heels and stuff, but other than that, I don't know what he offered. He didn't have a very good game. I'd have had Poku on there because I think Poku, You need to play him. He's one of those players that needs to play. He's a strong runner with the ball. He can knock people about. He can do something unusual. He needs to play for me. Disappointing for New York City. Chicago Fire point of view, defended very, very well. Missing David DeCam, I feel, in that final third. Kennedy Igbonike. I reckon I'm a bit better with Igbonike than I have been. Igbonike, rather, than I have been. He was always a threat. And Paunovic's men are really well organised now. You're all over the place match day one, and I've said it consistently week after week now. He has got them more organised as the weeks have gone by. And it was no surprise to see how organised they were and how much they shut down New York City. And it's no surprise, really, that the game ended 0-0 each, although it shouldn't have been 0-0 because Chicago Fire scored a perfectly good goal from Campbell. Cross came in off a free kick, whipped in, flicked on. Campbell, a centre-back's there, bullet header into the roof of Saunders' net. Nothing wrong with the goal. And the referee, linesman, ruled it out for offside, and it was such a poor decision. And this is what we were saying the other week. This is what I'm saying about a challenge system or video technology or something like that. That to me was a perfectly good goal, and it's cost Chicago Fire 2 points that could be vital come the end of the season. For nothing. It was a clear goal. But, it didn't stand, and the game ended 0-0. The other thing that came to my attention was Matarrita, the left-back. He was real quality. He looked excellent going down that left-hand side, put some lovely deliveries in. But one thing I will say that we criticised the referees last week. Geiger was the referee last night. Matarrita's been booked for a foul, probably the right decision. Might have been a little bit harsh, he won the ball, but it was a booking, no problem with that. And then he goes flying in with a header. He's late. It's a stonewall yellow card for me. There's no question about it. He rolls around, hurt on the floor. The lad he clattered into his hurt as well. A pair of them are down for a bit. He goes off for treatment and comes back on the pitch. And there you have the inconsistency. It was a red card. That would have been a red card last weekend. It wasn't this weekend. And that's what we're talking about with inconsistencies. But hey-ho. There you go. This one ended New York City 0, Chicago Fire 0, and probably a fair result for both sides. So the final game of the weekend, LA Galaxy against Portland Timbers at the StubHub Arena. Again, a little bit, a game that I was looking forward to, a game that I thought would be end to end. Didn't really take didn't really catch fire. I suppose obviously LA are missing quite a few players, so they're not at their 100% best, of course, and went behind in this one to Portland, who again have had a little bit of a slow start, but Fernando Adi scored a lovely goal, picking the ball up on the left-hand side of the penalty area and just curling it into that far corner. It was a lovely finish from Adi, right into the far corner to give Timbers the lead. Portland defended really, really well. But the thing I think from this one was let's come to the goal. LA Galaxy got themselves level towards the end. Nat Borchers with an own goal. Great cross from Leggett. Borchers throwing his head at it, deflecting it past his keeper into the net to give LA Galaxy a share of the spoils. But that won't be the talking point from this game. The talking point from this game will be Nigel de Jong's horror tackle on Darlington Nagbe. It was a really, really nasty straight leg challenge on Darlington Nagbe's ankle. And I guess this was the argument that some people had last week about obviously better players being injured. It was a naughty challenge from de Jong. He only got a yellow card, which after some of the straight reds last week, I find absolutely bizarre. Because this for me was much worse than any challenge last week that got red cards. It was a straight leg. That would have been, for me, a red card in the Premier League in England. Definitely would have been a red card for Nigel de Jong, I feel. Or certainly it would have been a big, strong shout in the Premier League for a red card. It was only a yellow card. Nagbe had to go off injured. Let's hope. I haven't heard how long he's out for. Let's hope he's not out for too long, because I love watching Darlington Nagbe, and it'll be a massive miss to Portland if Nagbe is out. But that's the inconsistency to referees, and That's why sometimes it's so infuriating. But the game ended, LA Galaxy won, Portland Timbers won, and obviously there'll be more fallout from the Nigel de Jong tackle as we go through in the week. I'm going now because my little fella is screaming and shouting. You'll probably be able to hear it. Yeah, catch me. Don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter at the MLS Show. Give us a little subscribe up there. Share on Facebook. Give us a like. And I'll catch up with you next time on the MLS Show. Home by Quintero. He was totally unmarked on the edge of the box. Runs in, side foots it up into the roof of the net to give San Jose an absolutely brilliant start for them. And Dallas toiled away. You know, San Jose, again, this is another side I've been impressed with, the way their organisation, really. Dominic Kinnear's men, really, really well organised. Don't always, before San Jose restored the lead into the second half. And again, it was a miracle. Breaking forward, lovely little ball. And that man, Chris Wondolowski, with his 4th in 5 games, he's a machine. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, Wondolowski. He's got great movement, and it was a lovely little bit of movement. Again, the marking could have been better, but he finished it quite easily, really. Just tucked it into the back of the net to restore San Jose's lead. But it was that man, Fabian Castillo, my man, with his little feet, as Peg calls it. He done well, dragged the ball to the byline, cut it across, vicious ball across, really. And Bernardes trying to steer it behind for the corner. There's nothing really he could do. It came at him fast. He's got to get his head. Welcome back. This is part 2 of Week 6 MLS reaction video. Let's get straight on with it. Moving on, FC Dallas against San Jose Earthquakes. This one ended FC Dallas 2, San Jose Earthquakes 2. San Jose stunned Dallas early on, as early as the 4th minute. Quincy Amarikwa's cross get the result sometimes that probably the play deserves, but I thought they were really good. That was a really good goal, although Dallas, Oscar Pereira must be very, very disappointed with how easy it was for San Jose to score that goal. Dallas got themselves level from the penalty spot. Akindele with another goal, following on from his goal last week, stroked the penalty home to tie the game up at 1 each.